So coming into the Singapore Grand Prix weekend, it was really heavily rumoured that Liam Lawson was going to take over the second RB seat from the United States Grand Prix, aka the next race after Singapore, in place of Daniel Ricciardo. Now this has gone from being something that's been a rumour to a strong rumour to being all but confirmed now pretty much. After the Singapore Grand Prix, Daniel Ricciardo was very reflective, very emotional, and you'd have to have a heart of stone not to get emotional, get well up. When you see the interviews that he's done after this race, it's sad. It's really sad. I take no pleasure in doing this video. I'm a Ricciardo fan. I have always enjoyed him in Formula 1. When he was taking it to the Mercedes in 2014, that guy was one of the few bright sparks in what was overall quite a boring season on the whole, I'll be honest. He had a title battle between Rosberg and Hamilton was interesting, but there was one team just miles ahead of everybody and it was just boring, for the most part. It was not the best year in Formula 1, but he was a real bright spot. He seemed at that point like he was going to go on and become a world champion at some point. He was the hottest property on the grid, apart from Lewis Hamilton. That was kind of it, really. And even then, debatably, the way he outperformed the car, the way he beat a four-time world champion in the same machinery, the guy who won the last 4 championships on the bounce. This isn't a Nico Rosberg in 2016. This is Ricciardo coming in his 4th season in Formula 1, his 3rd full season in F1, in his 1st season at Red Bull, beating Sebastian Vettel, the guy who won 4 championships for the team back-to-back from 2010 to 2013, all ends up in that one season they were teammates. That is a fact. Whether you think Vettel's better or Ricciardo's better, doesn't really matter. In that one season, Ricciardo was unquestionably, markedly better. But that's a long time ago. And, things have changed a lot since then. Ricciardo was brought in last season to cover for Nick de Vries. He then injured his wrists at Zandvoort and ended up getting replaced by Liam Lawson because he couldn't compete. And then Ricciardo came in towards the back end of the year when his wrists were healed. And this season, he's had some bright moments. Miami, the sprint race, 4th place, incredibly impressive. But overall in the season, you've got to look at it and say he's got 12 points compared to Yuki Tsunoda's 22. And yes, Tsunoda has not been in the best form recently, but the car hasn't either. But then again, Ricciardo, just a few points finishes, just 3 points finishes, 4 if you include the sprint in Miami to his name. It's not what RB are looking for, and it's harsh. But he's 35 years old now, and he's not going to get any better. Liam Lawson is itching for a seat, and there's apparently a clause in Liam Lawson's contract that says he has to race in at least 5 Grand Prix during this season, hence why Ricciardo's being dropped. And I say he's being dropped as well because he has been. It's blatantly obvious. The guy was crying in interviews. He was welling up. Just got a quote here from BBC Radio 5 Live here in the UK. He said, when asked about if this was going to be his final Formula 1 race, he said, possibly, yeah. So if it is, I guess a nice way to say adios. I'm not too sure about what the plan is, but I've obviously got a good idea. He's pretty much confirmed it without actually saying he's been replaced. And I feel for the guy. Like I said, I really like Ricciardo, but I don't think he's doing his legacy any favours at the moment. I know that's probably a controversial opinion to some, but he's a guy who's won races, got podiums. He was touted as a future world champion. His career right now is quite similar to Valtteri Bottas in a sense. It's quite sad to see them just at the back of the grid, barely scoring any points. These are guys that were winning races like 5 years ago. They shouldn't be in one of the worst cars on the grid. Now, I don't think the RB is one of the worst cars on the grid, but it's definitely not one of the best either. It's a firm midfield car at best. So yeah, I'm really sad to see Daniel go. It's pretty much all confirmed. And the one that really got me, and I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it, the one that really got me, I can't remember who the interview was with, but Ricciardo just basically said, my advice would just be enjoy the moment, because you never know when it's going to be over. And that's heartbreaking to hear. Say what you wanted about Ricciardo as a driver this season. I think he's an immensely talented driver, but right now he's probably not cut out for Formula 1, I'll be honest. But then again, he's shown that he's got some serious talent because he got fastest lap today. And he stole that point away from Lando Norris, who would have got it otherwise. And that 1 point can make the difference in the end, by the end of the season in the championship. Imagine if it does. Imagine if Daniel Ricciardo's parting gift to Max Verstappen, to Red Bull, is to win them a championship. Not by himself, obviously, but be the differentiating factor. That 1 point being something that has made a difference. It'd be unbelievable. But there we go, guys. That's my kind of take on it. I could talk about Ricciardo for a very long time, but the fact is that he's going, unfortunately. There's a month now between now and the next race. Lawson is going to be confirmed as an RB driver for the rest of the season, and probably for 25 as well, if he does well in these races. And even if, maybe if he doesn't, maybe there's just, you know, like a year and a half contract or something like that for him. And I think it's the right move for RB. I do. But it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. It doesn't mean it's not emotional. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on it, guys. I want to hear what you think about it as well. What are your favourite memories of Ricciardo in Formula 1? For me, it's a lot of those honey badger overtakes that he did early in his career. Those were magical. And of course, keep you subscribed to the F1Chronicle.com. Comment, like, share, all the good stuff. And of course, ring the bell as well to see when we post here on the F1Chronicle.com.